Hey guys, it's Farrell. I'm back on the Zombiecraft server. It's been a few days. In fact, it has actually been 3 days since the launch of the server event on Sunday. It is now currently Wednesday as I'm recording this. And we've been pretty busy on the server. Let me actually put it this way. Um, this is the bridge that I started working on day one over here. Nothing really changed past this point. I've kind of penciled in, I guess you could call a rough path. We've got a building over there, but nothing's really changed over here. I did actually start my spawn home and have mostly finished it, I think. I finally moved everything out from down here. I worked on a bridge over on this side to match up with the path, so this is now a continuous path out from across this whole area here. What I have actually done is, I don't remember where it is over here. I have to be careful because I think PvP is in action at the moment. This is where we're going to put the What News main studio and antenna. I'm kind of thinking the studio will be on the side of the building here and the antenna can be up top, some sort of complex. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to design that yet, but that will go on the top of this mountain. This is my little spawn home here. You can see I brought over some chorus fruit from the nether. I have some basic farms out here that I put in just for some really simple nutrition. I've tied in a little bit of the water theme here with the pillars of water on the end, and it actually streams out from a spot on the roof. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to kind of build this up for them. I was thinking I could build that into a little more of a tower-like design. And still stick with the whole idea of the water falling down through the structure and everything. But this is basically, well, it is my basic home. It's my basic starter home. I've got my little Omega symbol in here for the server, the required signage as I've put it in the past. I've emptied out my furnace here, and I don't really have too much actually left over here, I think. But I am going to start actually grabbing up the rest of my supplies here because I really do need them, especially, oddly enough, granite. And if you know me, you know that that's a really weird and freaky thing for me to say, and if you're worried about my mental health, I would not be surprised. So yeah, just some basic emergency building supplies. I might eventually take down this ladder access, but until I really am happy with how this has turned out, I'm going to leave it as is. Patches there pretty much. Almost one of every type of tree out here. I don't have the acacia, but I've got dark oak here. This is kind of my starting tree farm here, and you can tell there's some other stuff that's changed along here. Obviously, right off the bat, there's the fact that my armor's taking a hell of a beating right now. I've got this very simple little bridge done up over here. This really is not anything too complicated. I didn't want to do anything too much because I could see that someone was starting to build over here, and I'm trying to be respectful of that as far as road paths go until I can actually talk to people and figure out what's going on. But this is a very basic bridge, you know, just almost like box girder, I guess, and because of the angle of it, you can't see that these don't really attach up to the fences, but I think it looks pretty good. And it's high enough that ships can pass under without any problem here, so people won't be whacking their heads as they go through on the boat. So that was what I started working on. Now, there's also other work that I have been doing, and I've been pitching in where I can with some of the community builds. And in fact, one of the big things I helped out with yesterday was actually in the spawn area itself, and there's a reason why I've actually been avoiding that so far, because it's a pretty drastic change. So if you remember when we started out in the server, the spawn area, the initial basically spawn town setup was a lot like this. It's moderately hilly, spruce, you know, taiga, well, not fully on taiga, but spruce forest, basically. In fact, let's see, it should be telling me, yeah, taiga, okay, I was right, taiga. That's kind of changed pretty significantly. So the first big change you're going to see is actually, well, not really spawn, but over here, Xandra, the big white monstrosity that was being built up over here that I was expecting to be seeing as, every time I looked out of the corner of my eye when I was building my place over that way, I was seeing that and thinking there was a ghast over there. And it turns out, no, that's Sandra, and she's making melted candles. So now that she's got the flame up on the wick and everything, I really like how that looks. Now, over here, we've got this little house here is hiding George Jr. He's a snowman that I set up over there when we started moving things out of spawn because, well, you can see there's been some massive deforestation going on in spawn, and that is from the efforts of Ryan, myself, and Ben. We've all kind of been hammering away at this. We managed to clear away about half a spawn last night and finished up the rest of it today. I've been off trying to get some supplies, which is why I'm a little out of the loop as far as helping out tonight, unfortunately, but just trying to also give a hand with this. So this was all forested when we first started off, taiga forest. So we've cleared all that. There was a pretty massive farming area over here. That has been cleared out, and some of it has been relocated over to there as a spawn farm, and the rest of it has been moved over to various other locations. But this is our spawn. This is all Valdorius's design here. He's been plugging away at it, and actually most of the initial spawn environments are actually tucked underneath the actual structure here. This is the pathway into the nether. We're sticking with the elements theme over here, so we've got the spider webs or cobwebs as air. We've got our lava fire. We've got dirt over there, which is lit up with lava to keep it lit up at least, and then we've got water over there. So this is kind of our spawn portal here, big enough to be force friendly, thank goodness. The idea is that the four elements are going to split off in their directions, so this is essentially the fire element path. They'll be going out that way. It looks like someone's already been hard at work over there. There's another build over there. Mouse's house is over here. Really love what she did with that. That just absolutely looks 100% amazing, and right behind that, someone's been building a giant tree that's just kind of barely started rendering in there. Not sure what's going in over here. I think this is Sean the Orange's house over there. We've got a massive tree going up over there, and I'm not entirely sure who is doing that, unfortunately. I know someone was talking about doing a tree fort, but I think they were talking about doing more out of jungle than anything. Got some mycelium. Unfortunately, I don't have a silk touch anything right now. In fact, I'm really tool poor still. I've only found 40 diamonds since I've been on the server. Now, fortunately, I do have an elytra at the moment, but I'm trying not to actually use it because I don't have unbreaking set up. I don't have access to any villagers yet. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I am, for all intents and purposes, absolutely poor. It's why I'm still stuck in iron armor at this point. I've got 9 diamonds and 3 emeralds to my name, and that's about it. I'm perfectly healthy in terms of lapis and redstone, and a pretty good supply of iron, but that's really about it. Which is making getting things done a little difficult, especially because it's been hard to put the levels together to do any level 30 enchants. So that's certainly not helping. The other thing we also did, this is the original spawn container building down here. So this is where the enchanting room was, and I imagine that has been moved, I believe, at this point. Yep. Let's go ahead and just light that up a little better. The portal used to be down here. That's been moved. The mining shaft has been cut aside, I believe, and most everything's been pulled out of here at this point. There's really not much left. There is I believe the turbo chicken cooker is over here, and this has almost been saving my life to some extent. I've managed to cook up a little extra stuff. But the funny thing about this is it's an explosive chicken cannon, shall we call it, because it is sending stuff pretty much everywhere when it fires off. So not only into the collection hoppers, but literally everywhere else. So there's been a lot of work going on underground, as you can imagine, just by looking at the state of that, and that's because this is where we've decided we're going to put the shopping district on the server. So it's going to be a completely subterranean, underground shopping district, which is going to be really fun, I think. I just really like that whole idea there, and oh, come on, server lag. I'm having bad memories of Zombiecraft Season 1. Just keep going. Just keep going. He's around here somewhere. can't hit anyone in PvE or PvP for the life of me, but I can nail a gas from that distance, no problem. Don't ask. So every now and then, there's every so many blocks, I believe every 100 blocks, there's going to be side paths out of here. And the idea is basically you live out of one of the main 4 paths, and then you have a secondary path that is kind of a group collaborative effort of whoever lives out in that path can help decorate it. And that will get you out to some lava of sorts. Interesting. It looks like, yep, someone's made their portal out here. I'm kind of wondering who's out here. So this is the kind of the idea. So then this last stretch here, once you get out of the where you live on the secondary path, this becomes your path. So it's much shorter, much easier to decorate. Still looking to get around by horse, but I'm not about ready to start messing about getting a horse into the nether. The good news is at this point, I've got 3 of them. And one of them is absolute nether beat because the dang thing can't even jump 2 blocks. So it's not the fastest horse in the barn. It's not the like whoever put up those rails. That's really nice to have at this point. The funny thing is I'm taking out to where I live out here, and you'll see we're coming up on the 300 block. 300 block of I forget what tunnel I live down now at this point, but tunnel 300. So this is actually going to be the width of the secondary tunnel, so this is going to be a very big nether hub design. And then, of course, we've got the ability to decorate our own tunnels as we see fit. So imagine we're not going to have quite as much competition for space, but you can see I do have kind of the added challenge of, yeah, there's another fortress right over there. I don't know who built that in. It certainly wasn't me, but I have taken advantage of that. There's also another way to get to the fortress out the back, because it is a pretty decently sized fortress, but it's also already been fully rated. So this is the way to Zombieland Studios. If you're in the nether, that's where you're going. And the tunnel decoration here is not final. I'm not 100% certain about how I actually have this designed. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to keep this or if I'm going to come back later when I have a little more access to various supplies and everything to actually try out what we've got going on and kind of take this a little more. I mean, I kind of like the look of this, but it's not screaming like the studio, so they're not quite fancy enough. So I'm going to go ahead and drop off some of my building supplies here. For the most part, this is just primarily here just to give me some sort of cover from ghosts, because they are pretty consistent. Now, I've found at my portal, you're best walking through straight through, because then you can see what comes out of this side. It's a little laggy for me. So this is the first horse I've picked up, and well, as you can see, I want to keep this guy because he is fast. I like the nice fast horses, and where I am is actually pretty nicely set up. You actually I can ride all the way back to spawn on horseback, but it is a long trip because I am quite a ways out here, negative 230 by almost negative 600. So there's that. I've got basic supplies set up out here. I am slowly stockpiling my diorite and andesite, and most of my granite has been going elsewhere, actually, amusingly enough. In fact, I may actually bring you out and do some of the placement on camera for it real quick. So I've got that horse, and I've got the other 2 horses over here. The one in iron armor is good. The one without armor is the one that will probably wind up going into the nether. The one in the golden armor is going to almost certainly be Danube, without a doubt. But where am I putting my granite? Well, you can see I've been doing a lot of lighting up out here, and a lot of building of a wall. And this is more to keep zombies out than players out, but it is actually also here to at least be able to say, yep, I'm building out here. This is kind of the terrain I'm roping off. And I'm not going to be building a small area. This is going to be a pretty extensive area because I've got the whole life of this map to work on this, and it's also a case of I also will probably be opening this up at some point for anyone on the server who wants to come by and contribute anything to the build to add something in. So this is basically the Zombieland Studios lot, I guess you could call it, for lack of a better word at this point. And the idea is I originally had wanted to put What News in the studio, but What News really should be downtown because it needs to be somewhere where everyone can easily get to. And maybe there'll be like a satellite studio of some sort at some point in time. But the idea is that this is supposed to be my movie studio lot, essentially. Kind of branching out, so you've got What News, and then you've also got the... words are just failing me today for some reason. You've got movies, of course, because you've got TV, you've got radio as soon as I build the antenna at What News, because that just makes sense to put a radio antenna in as part of it, too. And, yeah, it just seemed to me that we could have some real fun if we had a movie studio on the server. So that's my build challenge for, my personal build challenge for this server, is to put that together and turn that into something interesting. And because of the way the studio is going to have to go together, it's naturally going to need to be a very big plot that I'm building on. So that's why I've tried to find a place where I can settle in and not have to... I don't have, as far as I'm aware, I don't have any neighbors yet. But I also wanted to have an area that would be relatively easy to build in. This is kind of the largest open spot on the server I've been able to find to date, and it's gonna rain. That's great. Okay.